If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, what would I do? If I wanted to destroy the Constitution, turn Americans into slaves and have them live under financial Jim Crow laws, where would I start? If I wanted America to be a tyrannical, fascistic, corporate dictatorship, what steps would I have to take? What ideas would I need to implement? If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would first start with false flag terror attacks on the homeland. I would use CIA-trained assets from Al-Qaeda to fly planes into major US monuments in broad daylight. I'd control demolition of building even though it was never hit by a plane. I would do this because I know the media would never even question it. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I'd create a war on terror. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would use these false flag attacks to enact draconian legislation stripping our constitutional rights. Bills like the Patriot Act 1 and 2 and the National Defense Authorization Act. I would spread fear in the population using terror alerts prior to elections so that the population would be voting for the candidate that would most support war and the military-industrial complex. If I wanted to turn America into dictatorship, I would classify the homeland as a battlefield. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would allow offshore banking cartels to seize control of our economy. I'd create a 100-year plan that revolved around a central bank. I would use this central bank to devalue and destroy the US dollar. I would con Americans into thinking that elitist banks who run our country are simply too big to fail. I would create a bailout culture where the 1% get richer and the middle class slowly disappears. I would threaten martial law to any member of Congress who tried to stop the bailouts. I would hire a legion of tax collectors who would bully people and shut their businesses down. Anyone who just questioned would have their passport rights suspended. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would ration health care, all under the guise of making it affordable. I would create food stamp and entitlement dependence, a dependence that would cycle itself generation after generation. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would rig elections. I'd use machines to count the votes and marginalize any candidate who told Americans the truth of what was really going on. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, the very institutions that Americans trust the most would have to fail. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would create a culture of spying on each other. I'd create a see something, say something campaign. A campaign that targets gun owners, pro-life supporters, Ron Paul supporters, libertarians, and those that simply would chant, "End the Fed." A campaign that would leave Americans questioning who their neighbors really are, questioning the relationships they had trusted the most. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would poison our food and water supply with slow-kill additives and vaccinate our children with deadly diseases and vaccines. I would create a scientific tyranny where 1 in 88 boys has autism. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I'd create a nationwide checkpoints, and I would force Americans to endure humiliating airport pat-downs. I'd set up roadside checkpoints. License plate readers and red light cameras would be everywhere that Americans traveled. I would use Predator drone spy planes to fly over American US cities. All of this justified by simply saying, "We're just trying to keep you safe." If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would track everyone, what they say, what they buy, where they go. I would use home appliances to spy on Americans in the very comfort of their homes. I would have tens of thousands of federal agents monitoring social media for any signs of dissent. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would change history, starting with our founding fathers and our Constitution. I would teach children that our founders were racist slave owners, white elites who were out of touch. I would teach our children through our public school system that our Bill of Rights and Constitution were outdated and a living and breathing document that could change with the times and with the polls. I'd convince Americans a stronger, more powerful president would make everything better. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I would take over the mainstream media and consolidate the media into a few banker-owned companies that would constantly lie and push propaganda on the American people. I would feed disinformation, telling them that buying gold and food storage is crazy and only for conspiracy theorists, while the very elites were buying gold and food rations by the ton in preparation for the coming economic and social collapse. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I'd continue to do what I've done for the last 100 years. If I wanted America to be a dictatorship, I wouldn't change a thing.